It's time to say goodnight.
Hi guys, this is Chauncey from Good Music to Know. I am so happy to be joined with the incredibly talented Ella Walton. She is a singer-songwriter, producer, and today we'll be going over her debut album, Looking for Angels, which beautifully blends raw emotion, vivid storytelling, and ethereal sound. So we are so thrilled to have her here today.
I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So I read somewhere that you actually, do you paint all of your album covers? Because if so, that is... They're spectacular. They're so beautiful.
Thank you so much. I do, yes.
What's the story behind the imagery for your debut album?
Yeah, so I initially wanted something that really connects with the meaning of the story behind the album. And I really wanted something that kind of illustrated this viewing of life. And so that's kind of what inspired this woman with glasses, is just like kind of this viewpoint into life without having the imagery of actual life. And that's why there's like birds, is because, I wanted to be playful with it too.
Very cool. And then that actually leads me to the next question about, so the title of your debut album, Looking for Angels. So maybe you can explain to us a bit more about the title and how that title ties into some of the themes within the album.
Yeah, so really this album, honestly, I'm going to just go into this album. It's kind of this confusion with life and a sort of feeling uncertainty with how I was feeling in the path of life that I was taking. And so really what this thing is like this journey over this past year about looking for reasons and looking for people and looking for things that tell me what I need in life, giving like reasons to why I need to do something that I feel down deep, which is like this album is kind of this realization about how much music means to me and kind of how I suppress that feeling so much because of how hard it is to make it in this industry and how hard it is to be vulnerable in that sense. And so really this thing is just kind of really looking for reasons to do it and to go for it, because that's what I need to do. And so, yeah.
That's half the battle. It's actually going. Yeah. One really cool thing that I liked about your music is that there is a sense of like melancholy there, but you always leave space for like hope, which I think is really beautiful. And I definitely got a sense of that in your song. I wrote it down in your song, A Special Kind. So it kind of starts off by talking maybe about like fears or insecurities you have, but then at the very end, it says, I will show you that you can be exactly, it's so pretty. I'll show you that you can be exactly what the world needs to see. So my question to you is like, how do you manage to strike this perfect balance between like there being melancholy, but there still being hope,
Yeah, I think that's really important, and kind of guiding yourself through life is there's always going to be moments of doubt, but there's also going to be moments where you're proven wrong and you're proven that, it's all worth it. And so really, I just want to kind of dive into that feeling of always having the sense of worry, but also knowing that you're going to make it out alive, or you're just going to, get there at one point. And I think that's really important in my stories, because that's how I live day to day, is just, delegating between those two feelings is really hard. And I know a lot of people go through that. And so I really want to connect that in my stories and my telling.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of life.
Exactly.
So what was the creative process like for this album? Were there any particular songs that came about effortlessly, or were there any songs that maybe were a bit of a challenge? Maybe you could walk us through the process.
Yeah, so A Special Kind was honestly one of the most natural songs that came out of this album. It was me trying to tell myself that I'm capable of, incorporating real instruments, because I have just been so focused on, the digital aspects of creating music, where I have limited myself in the experimentation of incorporating instruments. And so I really tried my best to, find a sound and play it and learn how to record it. And then it started just, adapting and growing. And I believe I did this like song in like 6 hours. And
Wow.
yeah. So it was really fun, and it showed me a lot. And that song really inspired my song Yellow Teeth and my song The One and this song The Sail Away. It's just like that moment was like my breaking point and understanding that it's possible to do things that you didn't think were possible. And so I really wanted to, after that song, dive in and dwell in the folk kind of music, and like really wanted to experiment with those sounds just because they're so different from like anything that I've done prior to.
Yeah. Would you say there's a particular track on the album that you feel defines the project as a whole?
I feel like Gardens of Angels. I co-produced that, and it was a beautiful process, but it's also one of those songs that, it's like a finale. That song is about life and having like a guardian kind of feel that somebody or something out there is looking out for you, and they'll be there when you're leaving this earth, and they'll be there when you're born into this earth, and just kind of this life organization of the process of life.
I actually had a question saved towards the end, but I can ask it now. It was actually about your final track. What I noticed about it is that it's definitely different from the other songs. Like it was more upbeat. It's kind of like this like fun housey dance, and then it's just like, don't worry, it'll work out. You have angels taking care of you, like you said, your guardian angel. Did you always know that was going to be like the end track? Was that always planned to be like the finale?
That was not. I think during the process, I was confused. I knew the like lineup. I never, because I produced it, so I wasn't like fully there throughout it. But it was kind of like I heard it and I realized that we need to finish this album off, because all the like kind of sadness and longing for stuff, that I needed something that united it all and showed that it's always going to work out. I needed something that felt like that it was going to work out, and like the melodies and the sounds of it just felt like very upbeat. And so I wanted to finish it off like that, because that's really initially like the storyboard, is that, right now, right here in this moment, that's how I feel. And yeah.
Another song that I really loved on the album that maybe you could explain a bit more was Emily's song. I don't know. I feel like there's this haunting sense of urgent lyricism there. So I was wondering maybe if you can describe a bit more of the backstory with this song.
This song kind of describes this album. I had gone to college for 2 years, in art school, and throughout that, I made my first song, and I kind of realized that was initially what I really wanted to do, but I kept staying at that school and, pursuing that. And along the way, towards my last semester, I had met this friend, Emily, and she showed me just how precious life can be, because I knew when I met her that I wasn't going to be returning to the city and the state. And so it was kind of this timeline that we had that was kind of flushed away, because living in that moment, like I never thought about that. And then leaving her and leaving that city, it was kind of like a representation of leaving that life behind. I just kind of wanted to make a song that kind of just showed how, even with people who have lost people, like how hard it is to just leave that life behind and leave that person behind and not be there to make sure that they're okay. And it's kind of like a self-reflection of, am I going to be okay without that person? And am I going to be okay without that life again? And just like stuff like very vulnerable senses of just relationships. I think relationships are really important in understanding who you are as a person and who you want to be. And so I really wanted to represent that relationship with that song.
Yeah. And just curious, going back to your origin, so what got you interested in music? Like, when did this creativity spark within you?
Yeah, so around like when I was 12, I knew I always wanted to sing. Was I always good at it? No, definitely not. But I used to play piano on my computer, and there was like this online database. And then a person very close to me was kind of experimenting with music and, grabbing vocals from other apps and stuff and producing great music. And I was like, I want to be a part of that. So I involved myself in that, and then I really wanted to keep going, but this person really was not on the same wavelength that didn't want to pursue it the way that I did. And so that challenged me. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to wait anymore. Like, I'm going to do it by myself. And so I started experimenting on GarageBand. And then about like 6 years later, I produced my first song, and that's where it kind of started, is just kind of this, I can't wait for anybody, so I'm going to have to do it myself.
GarageBand is in every beginner's toolkit. I also used GarageBand before I upgraded. It's so intuitive and easy to use, and like it gets the job done. Like
exactly, it does.
Bad rep, but it actually gets the job done. So yeah. So what are some of your artist inspirations?
Yeah, so there's a couple. There's artists like Sylvan Esso. I love them. I love them so much. I like this solo artist, Nick Lang. Very, very talented. And then I also, for like my lyrics, I really am inspired by this band called Palace, and I love them. They're probably my top favorite. But yeah, I do like stuff like that. And then when I want to kind of get into that more electronic feel, always Odessa and Flume are big inspirations of mine. They're amazing. And so that's kind of like the world that I'm trying to get into as well. And then even like Florence and the Machine, big artist that I love. I think everybody loves them. They're amazing.
Yeah. Would those also be dream collabs with those artists that you just mentioned?
Oh, yes, 1000%.
And so what's next on the horizon for you with this debut album? Like, are you going to be doing more shows? Do you have any collaborations coming up?
So I, hopefully after this album, I have never performed before. And so, yeah, it's kind of scary because being a solo artist, I'm very shy and very like closed off. And when I do that, when I think about that, it scares me. But yeah, I really want to start performing and kind of getting in that scene. Hopefully collaborating with some of my favorite artists. I mean, the ones that I could reach. But yeah, it's like, hopefully, keep going. I have a lot of music in me. So hopefully just keep creating and crafting and letting it all happen.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ensemble or get together a band for the live performances?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm really hoping for. I really want to give that experience. And I think like the work that I currently do prior to this album, before incorporating instruments, was kind of like this, I could do this DJ, but I really do want this, natural live sound, because everybody enjoys a DJ set, but everybody enjoys hearing like instruments being played and watching them be played. So yeah, I really hope to get a band together.
Oh, that'll be exciting. That'll be super cool. And then for listeners that have heard the album, what is something that you hope they take away from it?
Yeah, so I really hope they take away the craft, and I really hope that they take away from the story that's being told, and that they feel a sense of hope that, whatever they feel like they need to do, that it's possible for them to go out there and achieve it. And being able to curate these stories into their own lives and kind of adapt to the messages of just hope and that it's possible to go out there and achieve the things that they want to. I also just really want people to be able to dance and be able to sing and give people an escape from reality, because as a listener of, as a huge fan of music myself, whether it's through lyrics or through music, like sounds, like I think it's really important for us to kind of be taken out of the lives that we are living now and just be given a moment of relaxation and peace and joy.
Yeah, I think a lot of us can agree, or especially people that watch this channel, that music is like our respite. So having that is much needed. I know you just gave that. Oh my God, now I'm stuttering. It's okay. So is there, let's say, any final words that you would like to leave the listeners or your fans with?
What I feel like my duty is just to give people a moment to breathe and appreciate the craft, and also know that, if little things like, if you want to make music, that it's so possible. And if you have a huge passion, that don't waste your time trying to move past it and just go for it.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. Again, everyone, please go check out Looking for Angels. It is an amazing album, and I'm so excited to see what's next on the horizon for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I had so fun.